cell count, dead cells are more stable. So that will increase the quality. That increase the quality.
Sir, over the years we have followed the plain milk production practices, especially by the organized sectors. And if you compare the quality of milk which is available 30 years before and now, there is a huge difference. And the bulk milk chillers at the farms have another significant change. So we have, but still we are getting less shelf life to the consumer because of the this cold chain which is not foolproof. This is my opinion, but that any panelists want to answer this. I hope. Because that is what I give my own example. That in my home I am storing it for 7 days. What should I do?
Yes, sir. उसका एक एक्सटेंडेड आपने बोला, उसमें एक एक्सटेंडेड मेरा सवाल है कि अभी तक हमारा जो 2 दिन का सेल्फ लाइफ था, नाउ वी पुट रियली वेरी गुड एफर्ट्स जो सुधीर साहब के टाइम पे भी हुए, अभी मेहता साहब के टाइम पे भी हुए हैं, बहुत प्राइवेटरी में भी हुए हैं, ये क्लीन मिल्क प्रोडक्शन पे भी हुआ है और हमारे प्रोसेसिंग में अभी कैक्टो फ्यूज जो 4-5 करोड़ के मशीन भी आ गए हैं। तो क्या हम 2 दिन से अब तो 7 दिन तक कुछ नहीं होता? बात सही है सर। अगर दूध को हम घर में फ्रिज में रख देते हैं तो 7 डेज 10 डेज कुछ नहीं होता सर। तो हम अगर ये 48 आवर्स से अगर 2 दिन से अगर हमारा कुछ आगे है ऐसा कोई सर कि हम 3 दिन करें, ऑलरेडी हम दही में भी सेल्फ लाइफ थोड़ा बढ़ाया है तो आगे उसमें करना चाहिए, एक मेरा परसेप्शन है। एंड सेकंड कि नीरज सर से थोड़ा सवाल था डी लेवल से कि हम सर जो गांव में जो 70% पूरा अलग अलग घर पे, किसी के घर पे 2 भैंस है, किसी के घर पे 3 गाय है, 1 गाय है, 2 भैंस है, तो उसको अगर हम देखो फॉरेन में ये है हम एज ए फैमिली मेंबर मानते हैं, तो उसको अगर हम एक गांव में एक हड़ बना के काम करें तो अगर उसका डेटा लेके उसको पैसा देना ही है, पर हम एक ही हड़ बना दें एक गांव में जो छोटा गांव है, तो उसमें कुछ काम हुआ है, किसी ने सोचा है या उसमें कर सकते हैं, तो एक बड़ा एक रिवॉल्यूशन हो जाएगा। अगर एक सबको मिला के सबको सम्मति से समझा के, पहले नहीं मान सकते ऐसा हो सकता है, पर सबको समझा के आप 50 या अलग अलग सबके घर पे मान लो 25 घर पे 2-2 गाय है, तो ऐसा 50 गाय को एक हड़ पे लाके एक क्लीन मिल्क प्रोडक्शन करके उसको तुरंत BMC में लेके तुरंत उसको हम डेयरी पे लाके काम कर सकते हैं, तो वो बहुत बड़ा एक नया अध्याय होगा सर। तो एक ये था क्वेश्चन, और दूसरा था कि
नहीं, community milking is proposing. I think it's a good initiative. We can do it.
Yeah, that's right. What जो आप बोल रहे हो वो कम्युनिटी मिल्किंग के बारे में बोल रहे हो, एंड कम्युनिटी मिल्किंग मेरे ख्याल से आज से कई साल पहले कोलार में ट्राई की जा चुकी है। कोलार मिल्क यूनियन के द्वारा कोलार में ट्राई की थी, इवन हिम्मतनगर में भी ट्राई की हुई है। तो ये मॉडल सक्सेस हो सकता है, ऐसा नहीं है कि ये नहीं हो सकता है। इसमें काफ़ी ज़्यादा इच्छा शक्ति चाहिए लोकल ऑपरेशंस की, क्योंकि हमें फार्मर्स को एकजुट करना पड़ेगा, उन्हें मोटिवेट करना पड़ेगा गाय को वहाँ पे लाने के लिए या बफेलो को वहाँ पे लाने के लिए और रखने के लिए, एंड टू गेट टुगेदर टू हैव अ कॉमन लेबर प्रैक्टिसेस। सो मॉडल इज गुड, इट हैज़ बीन ट्राइड, इट कैन बी डन। We need willpower of the local implementer agency. If that is done, yes, it is possible.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. I think we will now conclude the session. I am very thankful to all the eminent panelists here who have contributed a lot. Thanks, very great thanks from Indian Dairy Association and on my own behalf to the organization.
Wonderful discussion, and especially I think the last part Q&A was very interesting. Somehow we always end up into those little things like shelf life and quality. But let me now request for the wonderful discussion that we've had. I would request our moderator, Dr. J.P. Prajapati sir, to please help us felicitate our panelists Shri R.G. Chandramogan, sir. Shri Manish Bandlish, sir. Shri Jay Agarwal, sir. Shri Sachin Ravekar, sir. And I would request Dr. Haris Sodhi to please help us felicitate our very own Dr. J.B. Prajapati. Thank you all the esteemed panelists for having a wonderful session. I would like to invite you all to join us for lunch. The lunch coupons are in the front pocket of your gift bag. Please check. The lunch coupons are in the front pocket of your bags. We meet at 2:30 sharp. We will start the next session at 2:30 p.m.
अच्छा अच्छा ठीक है
I invite Ashutosh Manohar ji to moderate the session, and let me invite the panelists to the stage. Shri Ritesh Dhingra, okay. Shri Parag Katwardhan, VP Sales, Nichrome India. Please join us on stage, sir. Shri Pradeep Hada, Head of Sales, Drones India Private Limited. Shri Babin Soni, GM Marketing, Samarpan Fabricators. Shri Shri S.N. Singhal, ex-Group Engineering Head, NDTV. Shri Ritesh Dhingra, do we have sir here? Please join us on stage, sir. Do we have everyone on stage? Parag Patwardhan? Okay, I'm just checking. Pradeep Hadaji, Bhavin Soni ji, Singhal ji. Okay. So I would request Ashutosh Manohar ji to please help us, take us through this session, and I am very excited to share with you. This is going to be a very interesting session, not only looking at the panelists, but the moderator himself is a very interesting man. So you must give him a big round of applause and see what is in store with us now. Over to you.
I think that introduction has made me feel very humble. That's not a feeling I have normally experienced. But anyway, today is an exception. So here we go. It's a pleasure to be here, absolutely. We've been surrounded by all the innovators, brand owners, pioneers of the dairy industry, virtual who's and who's who. The topic today is innovation, which reminds me of something Albert Einstein once said. And listen to this carefully. He said, innovation is very often not the result of logical thought, but the outcome of the innovation is always tied to a very logical structure. Because then that thought of innovation you need to convert into a commercial product, you need to scale it up, you need to market it, you need to sell it, you need to service it, and all the rest of it. But in that profound thought, that innovation is not always an outcome of logical thought, lies the essence of today's session, which is about the innovations in processing and packaging. Now these are two big parts of the dairy industry: handling milk, processing milk, and packaging milk. When you think about processing, you think about not just heating, cooling, transferring, holding, aging, blah blah, but you also think about new technologies such as, for example, high pressure processing. High pressure processing was in the field of academics for more than 30 years. It's not new to any one of you. What is new to you, it is now commercially possible to have, for example, a high pressure processing for sterilizing mango juice, as an example. Commercially possible. Because everybody in this audience, including me, until maybe 6 months ago, we would have thought that sterilization by heat is the most commercially competitive option that we have. That's definitely true, but now there are other technologies also that are coming on board. So processing innovation is not just about making things faster, better, cheaper, but it's also about maximizing yield and reducing food waste. When you think about packaging, because of the pressure on sustainability from consumers and everyone else, recycling is actually now the norm. Is your packaging solution recyclable? But beyond recycling, it's also about circularity, it's also about biodegradability, and now something new which is called smart packaging. What is a smart packaging? A smart package is a package that actually interacts with the consumer. It brings in possibility to know when the product was exactly made, the whole history of that product, and the supply chain transparency that it brings to. So smart packaging is about, for example, QR codes, for example, near-field communications, and all the rest of it. There is something else that's new, which I hope should surprise you as well. You might have heard of graphene. Have you heard of it? Have you heard of graphene? Yes? No? Graphene is the thinnest material available on earth, but it is stronger than steel. Currently, what is the application of graphene? It is used for a coating, a layer outside the aircraft or big vessels, So the air resistance or water resistance reduces, and then the cost of transportation reduces. What is its relevance to dairy industry? Graphene is now small, thin graphene sensors are being embedded in the pouch that you buy, the packages that you buy, and you can scan that and the sensor will tell you when was this product sent out of the dairy, how long has it spent on the road and at what temperature. And then next step would be timed if there is any degradation and if there is any leakage of oxygen, it will also tell you that. Once you have a sensor in a package, the package will communicate all kinds of information. So this is about smart packaging. But there are of course other things like AI, robotics and all the rest of it. But today I am not the speaker. I am the moderator. So now to talk about all these innovations in packaging and processing, we have the panel that has been introduced to you today. All of you have your own microphones, yes? Yeah. All right. So I'm going to start asking a few questions which are common to all of them. You can hear me well, yeah? And you can hear me well? Yeah. Excellent. So the first question is, and we go sequentially, Parag, Pradeep, Bhavina and Ritesh, or whatever sequence you are sitting in. The first question is, what is the latest innovation in the portfolio of your company, but how are you using sustainability considerations at the design stage of your equipment? Okay? You can go one by one.
So, hello, good afternoon everyone. My name is Ritesh Dhingra and I'm the Managing Director for Multivac, which is a German company well established across the world with over 10,000 employees. I think, sir, you've talked about a very important topic, which is what are the innovations that what we are doing as market leaders. So, as Multivac, as one of the largest manufacturer of packaging machines, we understand our responsibility towards plastic. So what we are doing is heavily to create composites between paper and plastic to reduce plastic dependability, to be more sustainable. Not only that, for all our factories across the world, we're working on net zero carbon emissions. This is very new for us, but in our German facility, because of the guidelines from the German government, we have to achieve scope 1, scope 2, scope 3, zero emissions globally. So we are very sensitive towards this, and I think we will continue to develop and find sustainable solutions, and paper plastic is something that we strongly believe in.
Thank you. Pradeep?
Hi, good afternoon everyone. Thank you Ashutosh for this opportunity. I head the sales for Cronus in India, and Cronus is into packaging of liquid beverages. So when it comes to list of innovations, it becomes a little complicated for us because we do close to 200 million euros sort of R&D projects. So it becomes, the list is endless for us a little bit. But just to name a few, and I will specifically work on the dairy, is aseptic as a technology. Since we move more and more towards higher speed lines, up to 100,000 bottles per hour, we were thinking of how to bring this down for dairy as a business. So smaller lines dedicated to dairy, which is say around 10,000 bottles per hour kind of capacity, and also extended shelf life with standard fillers, how to get extended shelf life of 20-21 days in a bottle. So that helps. The other way on terms of circular, we launched a project called Enviro, and this project relates to certifying every equipment which we have in lowest energy, highest efficiency. So, and it's a TUV certification which we do specifically for all the equipment which are Enviro related. And apart from that, as Ritesh ji was mentioning, being a German company, we have the scope 1, scope 2, scope 3 on sustainability and zero emission, which we have to constantly look at. The equipment have to be from design stage, has to have the lower emission, lower cost, better efficiency. That's how we work on from the designing perspective. Apart from that, we also look at thinking on the same lines. We thought that it is important for us to enter into, and when we say recycling, most of the times we have downcycling. That means a product A goes to a lower end product, not exactly on the same path. So we started working on recycling as a project, and we developed equipment for PET washing, polyolefin washing, which could give us the same kind of raw material consistency as you have in virgin, and food grade as an application, super clean. That is what we work on. So these are the areas we've been working on. Thank you.
Parag, before you go, I wanted to focus on what's new in your portfolio first, before you come to sustainability, because we'll come to sustainability later.
Yes, sure. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Thank you all. Thank you, Ashok, for being here. As you all know, I represent a company named Micron, and then we are the pioneers in Indian packaging space. We are in business for last 40 plus years, and as rightly asked by Ashutosh as a moderator, that what new we are bringing to industry, bringing to pioneer. So here when we talk about, because our company, while taking trial, we consume almost 1 ton of plastic every month. We start with, and then what value we are going to add with our innovation and new solution to customer processes. So it is always reduce and reuse and recycle. But then for me, while designing something new as innovation, I add a refresh word also. Because now we are talking about hygiene, we are talking about more shelf life also. And then we see now the mithai available across the mithai shop over the counter is also into extended shelf life. So this is the value addition. And then first indigenized machine being developed by Micron in India. Coming back to flexible packaging, there is a huge scope when we talk about adding value to industry. So I use a word reduce, where it is not only reduction of pouch, not only about reduction of the seal width or seal height, but then it is about the reduction of overall operating cost and then the overall installation space also. So there we are working. We are working towards a new age of technology, high-speed machine, at the same time reduction of power consumption. So earlier when we used to have a technology of combination of mechanical, pneumatic, and then with the introduction of servo drive, now we can reduce the operating cost by reduction in power consumption up to 40%. So that is the new thing we are offering to the industry. Otherwise then it becomes very difficult when we are talking about the convenience pack and having more production with less power consumption also. Then we are working towards recycled laminate. We are working towards the biodegradable material also. And then when we are offering the solution, it is always like a triangle. So it is the end user, a machine manufacturer, and basic ingredient, that is a film, a polymer. So we need to work in partnership so as to see that what different structures are available, how is the runnability, because when we talk about any flexible pouch, it is always temperature and pressure. So we are working a lot towards reducing the seal temperature. So ultimately it affects into carbon footprint. So more you heat the thing, more it will be a power consumption. So we are actually trying towards the reduction in temperature while having a seal integrity also.
Oh, very good. Now can you pass it on to Bhavin, who is your direct competitor?
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for the opportunity by IDA to present ourselves. We at Samarpan has been working on innovation basically on the commodity products.
Okay.
It is an essential commodity. So fundamentally, thumb rule is the cost.
Yeah.
So if we talk about the cost, then from 1975 to this 2024 when we are sitting here, what eventually we have come up for a liquid milk is that 1/6 of the cost we have come per liter pack. So So that is the huge innovation, and it is continuing with the more addition into the secondary line automation and all that. So primary function is that. Now regarding this recycling and virgin material, yes, definitely some work is going on, just like what we said, biodegradable material. Because if we have to focus on absolute sustainability, then entire material technology has to be innovative. So our job is to do parallelly both the things. That is one part of it. Apart from that, for in dairy, we also do a lot of other activities. Like we are also into high-speed cup filling lines, right from 1200 to 12,000 cups per hour. We also do a lot of work for cattle feed packaging, mineral mixture for the dairy products. All that we do. Apart from that, recently we have introduced also yogurt thermoforming line for mixed fruit yogurts and all that. That is something innovation. Innovation is in a way that it is indigenous. So capital cost is also going to be lower compared to the import substitute. So that is also one or other form of the innovation part. So that all we are trying to cater to MAP, sweet industry also, we are coming into that also. So these are certain kind of innovation. We are doing it in the dairy sector.
Thank you, Bhavin. I have a different question for Singhal Saab. And the question to him is, I think I'm sure it's on the minds of everyone here. Dairy industry has often been criticized as a resource-intense industry. What it means is it takes too much land, too much water, too much energy. How do you think, in your nearly 45 years of experience in the industry, how has the industry as a whole responded to it?
Good afternoon to everybody. I'm from NDDB. I have been the ex-engineering head of NDDB. And I think we have implemented number of projects and the large projects and mostly in the cooperatives. Now the question asked about the infrastructure cost and land and water and all this. So I would first respond that in the last 10 years, we have progressed in the infrastructure and making our all plants almost fully automated. And these fully automated plants have resulted into the various benefits. The first benefit what comes from the fully automated plant is the food safety, which is of the highest concern to the human safety, food safety, brand, image, etc. everything. We have commissioned a number of plants where you enter the plant, you do not see the milk from where it is coming and where it is going. It's all in a closed loop. Leave aside the human error. Even the human wish to do anything wrong, he cannot do anything to bypass the food safety. That is the biggest advantage. The second biggest advantage what we have got from the automation is, whatever the operations which were controlled by the human, those all have been nullified. And as a result, the milk handling losses in the plant have come almost to 30 to 40% what used to be handled. And we can understand in our dairy industry, the 70 to 80% of the cost of the product is from the raw material. Interest, depreciation, packaging, logistics, is all in the rest of the 30%. So if you are saving on the raw material cost, bringing down your handling losses, it offsets many of the cost what you have invested in the plant. During my period, there was a general impression that the smaller plants, they cannot afford the high cost. But when you do the costing of the savings what we have done in terms of milk, in terms of water and in terms of electricity, it surpasses everything what we have invested, whether it is for a small plant, and the hygiene changes everything. And I am happy that today whatever the new plants are coming, they are almost 90% to 100% fully automated. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Why is this important to talk about the research? Started in the industry, a plant that was handling 100,000 liters of milk needed nearly 700 liters of water. So the water to milk ratio used to be 1:7. In my own lifetime, this has reduced to 1 liter of milk to 0.7 liters of water. In my own lifetime. But there is one dairy plant down in the south, if any one of you have heard or visited Milky Mist. Have you visited that plant? If not, you should. Because it is a zero discharge factory. Zero discharge. All the effluent water they collect and all the solids that comes out of it, it goes to a biodigester and it produces methane. So the plant does not discharge anything to the municipal effluent treatment plant at all. So that is the direction in which we need to go. Same thing goes for space. I saw a plant in China which is the size of maybe half of this hall, not this hall, this hall. More than 150 machines and no lights. It's called a lights out factory. It is a plant of Yili, Y-I-L-I, Yili plant. It was their own idea that there would be nobody working on the floor. So if there is nobody working on the floor, you can make the plant very compact. Because there is no need for a safety distance between the two machines, for example. So more than 100 machines on the floor, no lights, nothing. There is nobody working there. Everything is automated. Everything is automated. So that's how we are reducing the land requirement. And I think each one of them is going to speak about how the energy requirement has come down going forward. So the next question to my panel is, what is your view of circular economy? Now all of you have heard of what is circular economy, where everything comes back to itself. Nothing goes outside the loop. So for example, if you have a paper-based carton, after the consumer has used it, it should come back as a package itself. Circular economy, nothing goes to waste. That is going to be the next guiding light for our industry and for our innovation. So I will go one by one now and ask them, what's your view of circular economy and how are you responding to that?
So, thank you. I think about circular economy, we have a lot of versions about it. I believe the Indian government's efforts about EPR, which is Extended Producer Responsibility, is the first step towards achieving a circular economy. So at the end, I must applaud the efforts of our government by all the producers to take this seriously, right? And by the way, we were one of the first companies to be EPR registered in India because we had all the paperwork, we had all the certifications in place, and not only machines, maybe we are the only one that also works heavily on materials. Second, many years back, there was a lot of discussions around biodegradable materials.
Yes.
As an organization, we have our R&D team members globally. Somehow we believe that biodegradable structures were not the right step towards, because we believe strongly that these microplastics would come back into the environment, into our human bodies through plants and vegetables. So we strongly believe in recyclability and 100% recyclable structures. As an organization, we have patented and developed a lot of these structures and have launched them in India. We're at the forefront of this innovation. So I must say that it is something that each and everyone should take seriously, and EPR is something that everybody should be aware of and work towards this. So
I think Ritesh has put his finger on something very important. Biodegradability is not the panacea. वो कोई रामबाण नहीं है. He is spot on when he says that the material, for example, PLA, polylytic acid, the material deteriorates. That's true. But that's only half true, because it deteriorates under defined conditions of temperature and humidity. Now, India has such a large variation of temperature and humidity. So, what's the guarantee that something that will biodegrade on the beaches of Goa will also biodegrade on top of Himalaya? There is no guarantee. So, biodegradability is true, but it's also not true because it can't be universally right. And the second half of biodegradability is, if it doesn't degrade properly, then it becomes microplastics. Small, tiny, microscopic particles which will go into the water, into you, and therefore it's not really serving the broader, higher purpose. Spot on for shining your light on that. Over to you, sir.
So, I'll delve a little more into this topic because this is actually very close to our hearts as well. The thing is that PPR was one of the great things which was initiated by the government. Apart from that, around sometime a year and a half back, the government of India started putting in initiatives which was food grade PET bottles, which was not applicable before that. So for us, that became because we had been working on it since last 15-20 years. But then when you start looking at it, because what was happening is, if 90% of PET is recycled, it goes to filament. And then people use it for clothes. And they say we are using recycled stuff. But that is not exactly the reason. We were still bringing in a lot of new plastic for new bottles. So the idea and the initiative to move this to 100% food grade recycled PET bottle is the next step. When we started working, we had a lot of hindrances on this because it was complicated. First thing is you do not have the right washing. Then the other factor was that there is a degradation on the PET itself. So a CSD bottle, for a carbonated soft drink bottle, cannot go back to carbonated soft drink because then the gas retention is becoming a problem. You move into, say, a water bottle. But that would not have been the solution. So we started then working on improving the IVs through when we were doing the washing cycle itself, so that you have a little higher premium quality which you are able to take it. Apart from that, then comes the challenges, and this is more related to India specifically, because what we are doing is as an industry, but the biggest problem which we are facing currently in our country is the collection. And collection requires discipline, and the owner of the collection remains the municipal corporation. And there, when you have a mixture, you are degrading basically a good quality product by mixing it with organic. So, you know, when you have to segregate, organic is very nice because that's pure, simple, straightforward, 10-day, 15-day life cycle manual. And that is getting wasted because then you have to use it for washing. And then the product or the plastic which is there with us, that is also getting degraded because your yield on a large line comes down drastically. So that is one area which we will have to work together as a society, along with associations. But in that sense, when we started facing those challenges, we thought, okay, let's do a little bit of an acquisition. You know, let's work on something else. If we do not find something, let's look at. So we recently acquired Netstal as an organization. So now we have recycling, preform making, and then we could do the entire circle together.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. When we actually talk about circular economy, for me it is inside Nichrome and outside how we do. As I was mentioning during my earlier speech, that we consume 1 ton of plastic every month and then that becomes waste. But then how we can make use of that, because we actually have a pledge to our customers. At the same time, we should have that responsibility to do it at our own. So we have alignment with an organization where they actually convert the plastic waste into some usable things like bags. So they convert the plastic waste and then they make a new bags and then that we can distribute. and then they are working into something new also. Because earlier we actually have tried with some two different agencies where they take the plastic waste and use that as a road fill while construction, or they make some fuel out of that. But we were not having any visibility towards that. So earlier we actually have found some new organization where they are making good use of this plastic waste also. Coming back to my customers, when they do have a pledge, and then we were talking about EPR, and then how actually we as a technology provider can align with their pledge. So it is about actually building the technology available for them. So we build and supply many machines for agrochemical. And then agrochemical do have a typical packing like biodegradable, but then it is a water soluble film. So the farmers just need to pour the bag into a container of water, and then they can start using that. It becomes very difficult when we are actually talking about multi-layer laminate and coming back to a film where it is a water soluble. Here we need to build a technology, at the same time it should be having a heat and pressure system also. So it is a challenge where we are actually aligning with my customer. Then we are working with regard to traceability. So there is a very buzzword into packaging industry, track and trace. And then there are a lot of solutions available. But then we at Nicrom, we actually help our customer to have that traceability also.
Okay.
So we are building new technologies as per the customization requirement from my customer.
Excellent. Very good. Ramesh?
Basically, as of now, where we are standing for a recycling part, see, we are trying to go 100% recycling. In virgin material, it is around 10% lesser ratio, but it is recyclable. Now, question here is, okay, biodegradable material, what we are talking, that has to be thought in an entirely different perspective altogether. If we are at the back of the things, if we are only considering plastic into the biodegradable part of the job, then the two gentlemen, what they said is absolutely correct. We should not be going to that time. Yeah, it should be 100% recycling is the best job. But then again, on material part we have to do, but as far as packaging is concerned, we are like definitely getting equipped in terms of machinability of the machine, sealing, different method of sealing for the different kind of material. So that all R&D we are doing on that part also.
Okay. Thank you. I have a different question for Singhal sir, which is, when you are working with NDDB, on behalf of NDDB and on behalf of your customers, you bought a range of equipment all your life. So now tell us, everybody, did energy efficiency, less water requirement, has that become a part of your buying criteria?
Absolutely. Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That is the prime part of the electrical engineering. We recover almost 90% of the steam what we feed, we recover the condensate back into the system.
Yeah.
What we discharge it in the UTP now, almost in majority of the plants, we recover, treat it and reuse it in the for the utility just now.
Okay.
There is a lot of effort being done that, okay, what better way we can utilize this water other than for the utilities. Similarly, if we see in the other areas, water, electricity, recirculation, the electricity consumption has come down drastically what it used to be earlier.
Okay.
The fully automated plant of the refrigeration plant, which consumes maximum of the energy, they have been regulated in such a fashion that you get the best results for the energy consumption in this. All our thermal plants, boilers have been converted from the crude-based oil to the briquettes, which is a renewable energy in this. So certainly there is a lot of thrust on energy consumption, there is a lot of thrust on the milk handling losses what we incur. There is a lot of thrust on the technology of the ETP. There has been a lot of this. It is rather generating the gas to utilize in our plant and in the boiler and all this. Thank you.
Very good. There's something that in his comment that reminds me of, if you Google Select Dairy, Select, S-E-L-E-C-T, Select Dairy in Texas, US. I visited them a few years ago, about 2 years ago, and he told me something that challenged conventional wisdom in India. Now, if you are a powder manufacturing person or a company, you know that you take milk from say 12-15% total solids to 40% total solids through a process of evaporation. This has been around for 50 years. Heating and evaporating it to 40% total solids and then transferring it to the spray dryer. A conventional wisdom says evaporation was the most efficient, energy efficient process. When I went to that plant, I saw they were using actually microfiltration. Now, microfiltration in itself is not new. It has been around for 25 years. Why was it not used before? Because we thought the pumping cost, the pumping of milk across the microfiltration would be very, very high and definitely higher than the heating cost in the evaporation. This has now changed because the nature of microfiltration fiber has changed. For a year, for evaporator by heat to 600 HP by concentration with microfiltration. Almost 2/3 of energy efficiency has improved. So the point I'm making and the point I'm using these gentlemen to endorse is we should look at the old established wisdom in light of new technologies available and recheck if the old wisdom is still valid or it's still not valid. Now we go back to our panel now and ask them what's in the air everywhere, and that is artificial intelligence and robotics. So the question to you all is, how has artificial intelligence and robotics been first impacting you, your companies, and how will it benefit our customers?
So it's a pleasure to always go first. So AI, I mean, as we all know, is very new in our world, right? It has been there in the IT sector for maybe the last... Yeah, correct. That's what I'm saying, sir. It's also true. That will be the future. That will also happen. But I think in our field of machinery manufacturing, we see that there is now a strong demand from customers to analyze the data, right? So what this artificial intelligence is doing is helping us analyze, improve our equipment qualities. We are at the forefront to launch a system which is known as smart services. That is, today all our multivac machines are connected to the internet, to a cloud, and we can even estimate when the parts will have damages on them. What is the life of them? What is the efficiency? Reports are being generated automatically to the owners, to the project management team, where the efficiency losses are. So definitely AI is a very powerful tool we should all utilize very effectively and use it to constantly improve on our solutions. So I believe it is here to stay, and we should consider it seriously.
Thank you. For Cronus, we thought we need to work on AI, and which is a better place to start with. So we started a company called Cronus Digital Solutions India. It's a specific team of people who work on development on digital solutions. The idea is that as manufacturers, we are not supposed to run the machines, right? So as our customer, his concentration should be on selling a safe product, as we had the discussion earlier, very well said. And this idea is where we started working on. And when you mentioned about the factory in China, yeah, thank you. We have quite a few installations in EV as well. The idea was to move to a dark factory. A dark factory which can produce bottles, milk products for you, and you do not have to worry about when the machine is down, what is the operation happening. And this can only be done when we start putting in AI. Small features, for example, in a blow molding machine. you have a preform which is fed, you have to set the recipe for every bottle, every process, the time temperature changes keep on happening. So then we start, okay, the time changes, so there is a certain effect which will happen on a bottle. So what is that effect? The machine should correct. So the machines become more smarter, they automatically start correcting itself based on the time temperature profile and give you a bottle, so there is no operator interference which is required. Same thing which is there, if we know all the glass bottles, for example, in glass, and we have few, we don't have, it's not very popular here in India, but we do a lot of milk in glass, and you have to do premium milk, and then the bottle washers are running through. So the biggest rejection which you have is after the bottle washer and the EBI, where the empty bottle inspection is happening. The empty bottle inspector will keep on rejecting anything which it finds, and it becomes complicated. So you take the batch, put it back again.
We invite all the exhibitors and visitors to attend the panel discussion on
There is a voice of God.
efficiency and quality with automation and hygiene in food processing. This session will be headed by Dr. A.K. Tyagi of Haldiram Snacks Private Limited. The session is in seminar hall number 2. It starts at 3:45.
Okay, we'll be there. Thank you.
So what happens is when you are working on the empty bottle inspector, when the inspector starts rejecting bottles, you bring those bottles back which you just think are right, and you just go to the teach mode. And then this machine starts becoming more smarter, saying, oh, I'm doing false rejections, let me start working on the right rejections. So on each equipment like this, we have, we've just entered into this, and the possibilities are limitless.
Absolutely.
You were asking about the challenges and how actually we are actually making good use of that AI.
I'm asking about artificial intelligence
and robotics. Yeah. So I'm coming to that. So in lighter note, I would say that there is a challenge, because when we say artificial intelligence, now when we approach the customer, the knowledge is already available on Google. So they come with a query and then the solution also. And then it becomes a challenge. So like when we approach our family doctor, and then we say that this medicine, can I take this, like that. Right. So this is the challenge. Okay. So in lighter note, we call it the artificial intelligence available with all my customers. But then we are actually, as an industry, we are dealing with that, and then I'll tell you how. Because when we actually deal with the battery of machines, and then when there is a challenge that every machine cannot actually run the same way, but then we actually can make the machine. That is actually a combination of artificial intelligence and machine learning.
Ladies and gentlemen, we invite all the exhibitors and visitors to attend the panel discussion on improving efficiency and quality with automation and hygiene in the food processing. This session will be headed by Dr. A.K. Tyagi of Haldiram Snacks Private Limited.
But we are talking about
The seminar is in hall number 2, and it starts at 3:45 p.m.
It's here now. Okay.
Yeah, coming back. So I was actually trying to tell you about customization with regard to artificial intelligence and machine learning, and then we do have a battery of machines, and then how actually we can match up with the production requirement. If one machine is down out of 10 machines, then how we actually can make use of balance 9 machines by working them on higher capacity. So that kind of customization we are doing. Then I was talking to you about the traceability, and then where we are.
Ladies and gentlemen, we invite all the exhibitors and visitors to attend the panel discussion on improving efficiency and quality with automation and hygiene in food processing. The session will be headed by Dr. A.K. Tyagi of Haldiram Snacks Private Limited. The session is in seminar hall number 2, and it starts at 3:45 p.m.
So there is one chair empty, the one panelist is actually speaking virtually, I guess. So just coming back to the story that in packaging machine or a packaging solution provider, there are a lot of things to learn and customize, and then any new technology is actually not a challenge, but then it is actually making you think that how you can best make your product, and then how you actually can make the customer happy with that?
Basically, when we are talking about robotics and AI, essentially it is about building the economies of scale.
Yes.
When we are reaching to the larger volume of business of packaging or production, then this all comes into the picture. Having said so, today, if we say for example for a liquid milk, we are already into that stage where almost 15 lakh liter plant, around 30-35 lakh pouches every day, all that data we are analyzing, evaluating, and similar data for a 6-month period, what is the efficiency change and where improvisation is required, all that data monitoring is happening, that already we are doing. But now that at the advent of the AI, this has to come into the place where it will go into the auto correction mode of giving the solutions.
Right.
Basically, that is the new challenge for the dairy with a larger plant size. That is point number 1. And similarly, as far as automation and robotics is concerned, now it is inevitable to introduce that with this kind of large scale. And already we are working on that line also.
Okay, I have a different question for single farm, and that is...
I just 1 second address about the AI. So we have created the totally fully automated plants in the dairy industry throughout. But as soon as the milk is packed and the packet comes out of the machine, our automation stops. And then we have to struggle to separate out the leaky pouch and the high-speed machines and people taking and putting into the crates and all this. I wish the AI and the automation can take care, separate out the leaky pouch, separate out the defective, take crate management and do the crating of the packs. And most important is the cost effective. It may be of the high cost, but it should offset my losses.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Does anyone want to answer? Yeah, please. Go ahead.
Related to AI, but then what we say is that when we talk about any pouch milk, it is always about the temperature and pressure, and then it is the continuous cooling of your jaws also. So recently now we have introduced the advanced chilling system where your chilling water is not required. With that, the leakage percentage is reduced by 17%. So I will discuss this with you in detail after this section.
Okay. Now going back to my different question for Singhal, and that is, again, it's related to automation, robotics. Do you agree with the view that automation or robotics is never or rarely about replacing human beings, but it is more about reliability, it is dependability, it is quality, it is consistency? Do you agree with that? And if you want to say yes, you also have to explain why.
Yes. So we had a session with Dr. Kuljan. He always used to say, don't remove the manpower for the sake of reducing the labor in your plant. But whenever it comes the question of the food safety, comes the question of the hygiene, and it comes the questions of the plant operation and the management, please go ahead with the automation. And the biggest advantage of the automation, what you get one more advantage, you get everything, all parameters, whether it is related to the food efficiency, food safety, or productivity, or utility consumption, and the milk, everything is on your table, and it can be assessed very clearly, and the corrective actions can be taken very fast on that. So automation is never on the basis of reducing the manpower in the plant.
Thank you. Now we are going to change the sequence so you don't get the advantage of answering the question first. We are going to start from the other end. So the first question to you, Bhavin, which is for bulk packaging. Samarpan has collaborated with a leading European company, and now you are into 5 kgs, 10 kgs bulk packaging. With this advantage, what customer benefits, give us an example of who are you working with in India, if you are working with, for this kind of solution?
Basically, as far as Samarpan is concerned, we are working right from 3 gram, 5 gram to 5 kg, 10 kg. That is one thing. For a bulk packaging, if we talk about dairy industry, then already it has become now a standardized SKU of 6 liter pack. Okay. Milk, buttermilk, even curd, 5 kg curd is a standard pack.
6 kg.
6 kg. 6 liter of buttermilk or 5 kg curd, you can say. 5 kg curd is a standard SKU. So that is where one of the major volume of all the dairy sector is there. Apart from that, for bulk packaging, we are also doing for a cattle feed application.
I see.
For a dairy, all cattle feed plants, 5 kg, 10 kg feed. And apart from that, there are many other food products like all kind of flours and other things we are doing it.
Okay, good, thank you. We go to Nichrome now. On your website, you mentioned that you partner with customers, some of them here maybe, to improve their productivity and efficiency. Give us an example.
So as Bhavin was mentioning, the scales are increasing, productions are increasing, and then people are looking for the high speed machine. It is not only about the speed, it is about, it is a game of cricket. I am a big fan of cricket, and then it is not about the productivity, but then how much you save. It is about the overall power, it is about the overall footprint, overall XSG. Because in packaging, whether you pack a liquid, you pack whiskers, you pack powder or grain, how much you are giving extra. So we are working a lot towards weight accuracy. It is not only about the speed, it is about the consumption of your polymer.
Yes, now, I believe, imagine having the, so this is a
leading company called Hanuman, where we develop solutions for alternative proteins, as we call them. We've even installed some lines in India with our thermoforming machines, given them the concept to produce paneer, or let's say soy paneer, as you would particularly call them. But not only that, we see a huge demand coming from the end customers where they would like alternates because of that. So we're at the forefront to develop these solutions. We work with Bühler, another very large Swiss company, to use precision milling to develop these solutions with mushrooms, with other alternates like jackfruit. And
Shri Hariom Gulati ji to provide the concluding remarks.
Thank you, Ruchi. So I have come here to close this wonderful session today. So as we come to technological intervention on Indian significant slide, the key, some new topic and